Okay, we were asked to write a program that uses a subroutine to get a number between 1 and 100 and doesn't accept anything that isn't between 1 and 100. Okay, so I've written such a program here. Let's just go through this together. So first of all, the subroutine is called get centurion. I've used the word centurion simply because it means 100. It's like a century is 100 years. So get centurion, and I've used this default value for the prompt. So if I don't supply a prompt in the parameter, it will use this string by default, input a number between 1 and 100. Okay, now I could change that prompt by sending in a different value to the function if I want to. This line 2, what that does is that makes sure that the following while loop executes at least once. So I want to keep asking while I've inputting a number that isn't between 1 and 100. So I want to make sure that it is not between 1 and 100 to start with, to make sure that this while loop does execute at least once. Now I could have put anything here that wasn't between 1 and 100. So I could have put -4 here, or I could have put 310 there, or whatever, 310. It doesn't matter. That's just simply to make sure that this while loop executes at least once. Let's put it back to -1. Okay, so when the program gets to this point here, I know for a fact that after this line has been executed, that this local parameter called centurion will definitely be -1, and therefore definitely will be either less than 1 or greater than 100. So that is definitely true. And therefore this line 4 will definitely execute at least once. And I'm going to ask for this number called centurion to be an inputted value, and I'm going to use the raw input, remember, to get the input from the keyboard. I'm going to use the prompt that's been supplied into the parameter, and then I'm going to make sure that this is an integer by turning this this string that I get from raw input into an integer by putting the int open bracket around it. And that means that this centurion value, by the time it comes out of this loop, if I do put something between 1 and 100, let's say 50, then this condition will become false, because if centurion is 50, then it is neither less than 1 nor greater than 100, and therefore this condition will be false, and therefore this while loop will not be executed anymore, and the program will then come along to line 6, and then it simply returns from the function the value centurion. So let's just check to see that working now. So we're going to, oh, and by the way, on line 8 here, we're actually calling this function called getCenturion, and we're assigning this variable called myValue to the output of the function. Okay, so let's have a go at running that then. So it says input a number between 1 and 100. So if I put 0 in there, that's not correct. So what's happened if I do that is this while loop will simply go round and round and round in circles until this condition is true. So if I put 189, that also isn't between 1 and 100. If I put 67, then it will simply end. So putting 67 returns the value centurion to this value here called myValue. Now I'm not doing anything with it. We'll do something later. But that should now work. Now, there is a problem with this that we haven't taken into account. Let's just run this again and I'll show you what I mean. This is a different problem altogether. So let's, again, right-click and run the program. What it doesn't take into account, if I type in gibberish, so if I put in some sort of silly string in here that isn't an integer, it will fail and it will give me an error actually, and the whole program will crash, because here I'm trying to turn whatever I type in into an integer, and quite clearly this strange text is not an integer, so it can't convert it, and therefore it crashes. We'll deal with that later on.